Hey friends, welcome back to Daily Sews and Stuff. I'm Brandon Daly, and today we're going to talk about the new software that's out there for projector sewists. This software is by projector sewists for projector sewists. It calibrates and lets you project within the software, and it is amazing how much work this is taken out of calibration and how much work you can get your computer to do for you versus your own brain and fiddling around with the physical calibration of your projector. For you to have a true understanding of just how much work this cuts out, you kind of need to understand the old way of calibration. So you can go back and watch some of my old videos on calibrating and see just what we're talking about here. But this new software is wonderful, amazing. We're all so excited about it. And yet, two came out at almost the exact same time. So how's a person to know which software they should choose? Well, that's what we're talking about in this video. We are comparing and contrasting Projecting Cut and Pattern Projector. Okay, spoiler alert, I'm going to tell you right now how it ends. For the most part, it all comes down to personal preference. So Projecting Cut gives you a 21-day free trial. Pattern Projector is free to use. So it's in your best interest, if you are able to use both programs, to go use them both multiple times and figure out which you prefer. Now in this video, mostly I'm going to be talking to you about the differences and about when I think each program might be more appropriate. I've already interviewed both projector sewists who designed this software. You can find my interview with Clinton Blackmore and my interview with Courtney Pattison here on my channel. I've also introduced both these programs to you. And as of recording right now, Pattern Projector has not changed much from when I introduced it to you, but Projecting Cut has actually had some improvements. So I will go over some of those things as I'm talking, but like I said, this one is not about how to use these programs so much as it is about when you might choose to use one or the other and why one or the other might be better in your situation. I also made up some little slides that I'll have showing throughout this so that you can see my points as I'm talking. Also, as soon as I decided to record this video and I got my makeup on and I have the time to do it, my neighbors decided to mow their yard. So hopefully my microphone is picking up my voice and not their lawnmower. I'm sorry. So let's just look at this Venn diagram really quick. All right, so Projecting Cut is over here on the left in the kind of red circle. Projecting Cut is a downloadable program. So if you have a Windows, Mac, or Linux computer, you're going to download Projecting Cut onto your computer and use it there, regardless of whether you have internet, regardless of anything. If you have one of those three operating systems, you download the program and you just use it on your computer. The 21-day free trial begins as soon as you first open it. And then once that trial runs out, it only costs $20 US to continue using it indefinitely through version 1 of this. This is like Affinity Designer, where V1 comes with constant updates and you pay your one-time fee, and all across the updates with V1 you get it. Now if Clinton ever decides in the future to do a V2, that will be a separate new payment like Affinity Designer was, but he thinks that that will be many years in the future, if at all. So this is really not an expensive program. This program is extremely easy to use for calibration. This is the biggest selling point of Projecting Cut. Both programs are designed to make your calibration easier, and both programs are easier than a manual calibration. But Projecting Cut just pushes it that much further and is that much easier to calibrate with. I really love the interface that Clinton has designed, and I think it makes more sense, especially when you are looking at your projection and not your computer screen, to calibrate with Projecting Cut. Now I'm going to skip the middle and we'll get to that in just a minute. Let's look on the right hand side at the silver Pattern Projector circle. Pattern Projector is web-based, and this means a couple different things. The first thing is you can use it on any device that has an internet connection. It doesn't function as well on mobile as it could and as it possibly will in the future, but it is possible to use it on a mobile. And in fact, it can be done on iPad, and several people have done that with great success, and I will have a video about that soon. So Chromebook, mobile device, tablets, computers, whatever, as long as you've got an internet connection, you can use Pattern Projector. Now, the downside of that is you must have an internet connection. It does not work offline. So you will need to have internet in order to use it. And for some people, that's no big deal. They have internet all of the time. You know, why would that even matter? But for some people who maybe travel with their projector to different retreats, or if you are an RVer, or if you are planning to take it on a vacation or something like that, that may make a difference for you. It also may be a problem if you have rather intermittent internet, or maybe you sew in your basement and, you know, your Wi-Fi doesn't quite reach well down there. So that is an important thing to consider. It is free and open sourced, so it doesn't, definitely you may use it for free until and unless Courtney decides to change that in the future, but that is not in her current plans. You can, by the way, donate to her as a thank you for creating this, but we'll get into that in a little bit. It is open source, which means if you are the kind of smarty who understands software, go help fix it, improve it, add fun things to it. Whatever you think might be a good addition, you are welcome to collaborate and make improvements on that. The other thing that stands out with Pattern Projector is it has a built-in ability to stitch patterns together and to improve the lines of your patterns. Now, if you're somebody who is already very used to running every pattern through PDF Stitcher and then a vector software, that may not be very important to you. But if you're somebody who can't use those because you're on a mobile device, for instance, then that is a huge improvement for you. And now let's look at this little middle section. Both programs are so much easier to use than a manual calibration. Both programs are designed for you to calibrate and project from the same program. So this is something that bears saying. You're not going to use Project and Cut to calibrate and then project from Adobe. You're not going to use Pattern Projector to calibrate and then project from Inkscape. It doesn't work like that. You have to calibrate and project from the same program because the program is doing its skewing on the computer to make it correct on your projection only within that program. So it's just really important that whichever one you calibrate, you use that to project from. Both programs give you easy inverting of colors, give you an easy way to rotate, flip horizontally, flip vertically, and neither program is going to try to trick you into thinking that you have to pay to do any of those functions like Adobe does. And as of recording, both programs do support layers. This is added to Project and Cut from when I did my introduction video, but has been true of Project and Cut since the beta version has come out. Now, both programs are also, as of recording, in a beta testing phase. So both programs intend to make improvements and intend for you, the user, to give them feedback on things that can be improved so that they become better products. So you know how I just said that whatever program you calibrate in, you need to project? Does that mean it's all or nothing? Does that mean that you must choose Team Project and Cut or Team Pattern Projector? And if you don't choose a team, it's going to be terrible? No, not at all. I mean, we could get into a Ford versus Chevy debate, a Windows versus Mac debate, a Team Edward versus Team Jacob debate. The bottom line is both programs work slightly differently, but they are going to ultimately do the same thing. So, like I said earlier, you can't calibrate in Pattern Projector and then project from Project and Cut and expect that calibration you did in Pattern Projector to work in Project and Cut, and vice versa. They're not designed like that. They're designed for you to calibrate and project within that same program. But there is nothing saying that you can't have both programs on your computer and calibrate in both programs and use both programs. All I'm saying is if you calibrate in Project and Cut, you project from Project and Cut. And if you want to project from Pattern Projector, just make sure you go through the calibration first and then project from Pattern Projector. Along those same lines, Project and Cut will save your calibration from last time. It'll just reopen in the same place. And Pattern Projector will not. If you close the browser, you start over. But either way, I'm going to recommend that when you open the program and you're fixing to use it that day, you just do a quick little check to make sure your calibration is correct before you move on to projecting. This is the same as whenever we use Adobe and we manually calibrate our projector and we physically move it. We still want to check first thing real quick before we project anything and start cutting, is my projection still good? Same exact concept. You just want to make sure that, you know, user error, computer update, whatever, somebody has knocked into your projector and you don't know it. You just want to make sure you're double checking before you get started. You can still calibrate the old way. You can make sure your projector is manually, physically calibrated, and then your choices will be unlimited. You can use Project and Cut. You can use Pattern Projector. You can use Adobe. You can use Inkscape. You can use Affinity Designer. You can use whatever you want to if your projector is properly calibrated. However, it's a lot of work when you could really just use one of these or both of these programs and not have to have it physically calibrated. It's up to you though. So if you're going to use both programs, when might you choose one or the other? Or when might you not be able to choose one or the other? So let's start with Project and Cut. When do I advise you to use Project and Cuts? Now, before I go any further, let me say this. I was on the alpha testing team of Project and Cut. I have an affiliate with Project and Cut, and so I do get a little bit of money back whenever you use my link to buy Project and Cut. I have spoken with Clinton and done an interview with him, and I think what he is doing is amazing, and I really support him, and I really, really, really like Project and Cut. So, am I a little bit biased? Maybe. I really, really, really like the program, and that's why I've chosen to do all of this, get this affiliate link and be on the alpha testing team and all of that stuff. And I'm not recommending something to you that I'm not already using, that I haven't already paid for myself. But I want to be transparent in that there may be some bias there. Okay, let's talk about Project and Cut. When do I advise that you use Project and Cut? Basically, if you project from a computer. Project and Cut does not work on mobile. It only works if you have Windows, Mac, or Linux. But if you have Windows, Mac, or Linux, this is the best and easiest way to calibrate and project your patterns, in my opinion. So if you have one of those, that's when I advise you to use Project and Cut. But if you have a Chromebook, a tablet, a phone that you regularly project from, that's not going to work. So in those cases, I don't advise you using Project and Cut. If you plan to project without internet access, then you need to go with Project and Cut, because Project and Cut needs internet to be downloaded, but once it's on your computer, it's on your computer, and whether or not you have internet access will not affect the usability of the program. If your pattern is already projector ready and you don't intend to do anything other than turn off layers, or if you are still going to continue to use PDF Stitcher and or vector software to prepare your pattern before projecting, then Project and Cut is the way to go. Because like I said earlier, it is so much easier to calibrate with Project and Cut. I think it is easier to use from the projection screen versus needing to go back and forth to your computer screen. And I just think it's just that little step above. The calibration grid is better, the interface is better, it's just that slight bit better. However, it doesn't have those built-in tools like Pattern Projector does. So if you need those built-in tools, then Pattern Projector is the better choice, right? But if you're still going to use PDF Stitcher and or a vector software, which I will continue to use, for me it makes more sense. I want to run it through PDF Stitcher, delete the layers I don't need, thicken those lines quickly, easily, save it, and then take it into my vector software, do all the pattern adjustments I need to do, and then I'm going to project. That's going to continue to be the way that I interact with most projector patterns, regardless of which program I'm using. So because of that, I don't need those bells and whistles that come with Pattern Projector. They're cool. They're very cool. But they're not so much necessary. And as I said a minute ago, project and cut is so much easier to see from your projection. You don't have to go over to where your computer is to see it on the computer. In fact, I use mine on an extended screen where I can't see it on my computer screen because the interface is good enough that that's possible. And I really prefer that. If you're going to do this, grab a wireless mouse and keyboard from Amazon for like 25 bucks. I'll put a link in the description box, which I have an affiliate with them as well. But it's whether or not you're going to use project and cut, whether or not you're going to use Pattern Projector, if you're projector sewing, I highly recommend a wireless mouse and keyboard because it just makes it so much easier to interact with your projector versus over to your computer. The exception might be if you're using your computer directly next to your projected image, but mine are kind of across my craft room from each other, so I don't prefer doing that. Okay, hi, Editing Brandolyn. Jumping in to just clarify a little bit. So any DIY pattern projector is basically just a second screen for your computer. It can be a duplication of what you see on your screen. It can be an extended version of what you see on your screen. Either way, it's just a screen for your computer. So the way that you interact with it is by interacting with your computer. Having a wireless mouse and keyboard just allows you to do that while only looking at your projected image versus having to go back and forth looking at your projected image and your computer screen. If you use a laptop and it is right there directly next to your projection, or you use a mobile device where you can carry it around with you, that's fine. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. I have just found over the last 4 years of doing this that my preferred method is to treat my projected image as an entirely separate screen from my computer and to have my wireless mouse and keyboard with me and interact directly with my projected image. And even if I have it duplicated, even if I could see on my screen the same thing I see on my image, I much prefer interacting with the projected image, looking directly at that and not having to look back and forth. Part of that is because from the beginning, my craft rooms have been set up where it wasn't possible to have my computer screen directly next to where I was projecting from. But even if that is possible for you, try it out, see if you like it better. It's really kind of nice not to have to try to juggle that back and forth and not to try to have to do this weird thing where you're looking at one place while you're moving it somewhere else and it doesn't always quite work the way you think it's going to. Especially if you have a laptop and what you are using is a trackpad, get yourself that wireless mouse if nothing else. The Logitech mouse and keyboard that I have is in my Amazon storefront. I'll put a link in the description box. It uses one USB receiver to take both the mouse and keyboard, and it just really simplifies my life. And back when I had a laptop, I preferred using that. And now that I have a desktop, I have to have a mouse and keyboard, and I prefer to still use this wireless version that I can take over to my projected screen with me. And with the 21-day free trial, you have nothing to lose to try out Project and Cut and see whether or not you like it. Just make sure you wait to open the program until you're ready to try it. And remember that it's just that 21 days. You can get a lot of cutting done in 21 days if you want to. But I know that sometimes real life gets in the way and we don't actually get to do the sewing we want to do. I say that because the 21 days starts counting from when you first open the program, not from when you download it. Okay, so we talked about when I advise you to use Project and Cut. When do I advise for you to use Pattern Projector? If you're using a mobile device, including a Chromebook, then that is your best choice. You're either physically calibrating and using like Zoto or Affinity Designer on an iPad, or you can use Pattern Projector. And Pattern Projector is vastly superior than any of the older methods that we have ever done to project patterns. The caveat there is the bigger the screen of the device you're working with, the better Pattern Projector is going to work. So a small phone may not work great for calibrating in Pattern Projector. If you're reliably going to have internet access while projecting, then Pattern Projector may be a good choice for you. Because, like I said earlier, you have to have consistent internet access while using it. If it is really important to you to use free software and or open source software, then Pattern Projector is the choice here because it is the one that is free and it is the one that is open source. If you can't use a PDF, Stitcher, and or vector software, possibly because you're on a mobile device, then Pattern Projector is the choice for you because Pattern Projector is going to have those stitching capabilities and those line adjustment capabilities. So PDF Stitcher is only available on those computers similar to Project and Cut. So people who are mobile users are not able to use PDF Stitcher. If you have an iPad, you have been able to use Affinity Designer to adjust your patterns, but it's a little bit of that longer form whenever you're putting them together or changing the line thickness. Pattern Projector makes that super easy in the same way that PDF Stitcher does, but now puts it in a way that mobile users can use it. So for y'all, this is a huge improvement, and I totally understand why you would want to use Pattern Projector and have those tools available for you. There's also been instances of people using their work computer, which doesn't allow them to download the malicious software because she's not a registered developer of PDF Stitcher. And again, in those cases, when you need PDF Stitcher, using Pattern Projector instead is a really great alternative that we now have. So I think that Pattern Projector is really hard to use just from the projected image. The way the interface is designed is really designed for you to be seeing your computer screen and your projected image at the very same time and for them to be a duplicated version of themselves, where they both look exactly the same and you're seeing them at the exact same time. So if that's you, if that's how you work and that's how you prefer to work, then I think Pattern Projector works out really well. But if you're like me and you prefer to have your projected image to work from and not be having to look at your computer screen at the same time, then Pattern Projector kind of doesn't work so well. Project and Cut is much better in that respect. And if you really need or even just want that all-in-one solution, those extras that Pattern Projector have available are just really important to you, then obviously you're going to want to choose Pattern Projector. So in conclusion, like I said at the beginning of this video, most of it comes down to personal preference. But I think as long as you have a computer, that Project and Cut is well worth the $20 US that you spend to have that as an option for you. It calibrates just so chef's kiss easily. It is so easy to see from your projected image and interact with it from your projected image. Buying it supports your fellow projector sewist, Clinton. And if you're going to continue to use PDF Stitcher and Affinity Designer and or Inkscape and or other vector program, then you don't need the bells and whistles that come with Pattern Projector. And that kind of takes away anything that is special about Pattern Projector and just puts you back at you really just want something that interfaces well and works well. Now, if you only run mobile devices or can't run PDF Stitcher like we talked about, then Pattern Projector is the obvious choice for you. You can donate any amount that you would like to in order to support the developer of this software, or none. You can use it for free. But if you do still want to support your fellow projector sewist, that's a great way to do it. There's a link down in the description box where you can do that, and also you can find it on the website, patternprojector.com. It allows you to skip PDF Stitcher, so if that's something you don't have or can't use for whatever reason, that's a really easy alternative. And it really is the best all-in-one solution, so you don't have to use PDF Stitcher and then project your pattern. You can just project your pattern. But the bottom line is, both of them can be tried for free. Whether it's the 21-day free trial or it's just using it for free, try them both out. See which one you prefer and then stick with it. Or try them both out, see the merits of both of them, and when it makes sense to use Project and Cut, use that. When it makes sense to use Pattern Projector, use that. There's nothing saying you have to use only one or the other as long as your device can run both of them. There's also nothing saying you can't use one on one device and the other on another device. doing what works for you is really what this is all about. Because honestly, that's kind of the whole point of this DIY thing. We are engineering our own projectors to work the way we need them to in our own spaces with our own devices. And this is just one more piece of that puzzle of this is where you get to choose. And yeah, sometimes that makes it a little bit overwhelming, but also that means you get to do exactly what you think is best. I kind of love that. Thanks for watching, friends. I am sorry that there wasn't a definitive conclusion, but I think that honestly, it's better this way. And I can't wait to see you in the next video. Please leave a like, a comment, a share, whatever you can do to help spread the channel. If you use any of the affiliate links down below, that does not cost you any extra, but it gives a little bit of money to me, which just helps support this channel. I appreciate it. I will see you next time. Bye, friends.
Thanks for watching my videos. Like, subscribe, and comment.